Hi guys, welcome to our very last lesson of the year, 7-10, dividing polynomials. I am going to go through all the examples again, like I did on 7-9, and you're going to do the practice problems. Now, I will say that this first page of the notes is sort of review. It's just a little bit different in that when you divide a monomial by the trinomial by the monomial, you're not factoring, so you don't have to keep the monomial. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, I am going to set up my problem. 8x cubed plus 12x squared plus 4x, all divided by 4x. So each one of these terms we're just going to divide. So we have 8x cubed plus 12x squared plus 4x, and each of these is going to be divided by 4x. Okay, now you've already done this. You've already done it. The thing that was different from what you did, though, is that you were factoring out the greatest common factor. And so they've pretty much given you a factor to divide it by. So when you're dividing, you no longer need that term on the outside of the parenthesis. You're just simplifying the expression, basically, is what you're doing. Okay, so when we do this, we have 8 over 4 simplifies to 2, and x to the third divided by x to the, we don't see that number, but it's there, a 1, is just the same as x to the third minus 1, which equals x squared. Okay, so basically we get rid of this one, and this one becomes x squared. So I'm going to rewrite that right down here. 2x squared, and we got rid of everything in the denominator. We're going to do the same thing here. 12 over 4 simplifies to 3. X squared over x simplifies to just x. So I'm now left with, on this one, a 3x. Okay, when it comes to this one, it's not going to be nothing. This isn't our final answer. We have 3 terms we're dividing. We have to have 3 terms in our answer. 4x divided by 4x is 1. They cancel out, but the top and the bottom both become 1, so plus 1. And ladies and gentlemen, that is our final answer. So really, this page is not much new. I'm going to go ahead and do examples 2 and 3, and then you are going to submit this with practices. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going. 15x minus 6 divided by 3x and divided by 3x. Okay, when I simplify, this becomes a 5, and my x's both cancel out. So I just have a 5. Okay, then my 3 divided by 3 is 1, 6 divided by 3 is 2, and I have no x's to cancel out, so I have to keep that x minus 2 over x. Okay, and that is my answer. It just looks a little bit different. Okay, third example here. We're going to take each of these terms, 5x to the 4th minus 15x squared plus 1, all divided by 5x cubed. Okay, so here my 5's cancel out, and then I'm just left with 1x on the top when I simplify those. So x minus, so 15 divided by 5 gives us a 3. These cancel out, and we're left with 1 here. So we have 3 over x. And then here, we can't simplify anything there, so that just stays the way that it is. Okay, and that is the answer. Okay, so first page is already done. Go on to page 2. Now, I'm going to remind you of something that you already know, but maybe you've forgotten because it's been a long time since you've done long division, which we're about getting ready to do. Okay, so I want to remind you of the steps to long division because some of you have forgotten them. And I know you're thinking, well, I could just use my calculator, and yes, you can, but you can't use it with problems like this. So I'm going to remind you of those steps. So I have a practice problem here of long division, 1,354 divided by 3. Okay, first step, divide. So I'm going to divide 13 divided by 3. Okay, 13 divided by 3 is 4. That's the most that 3 can go into 13. Okay, so then your next step is to multiply. And I know you might be thinking, I'm going to skip through this, and some of you probably already have. But for others, you need this reminder. So 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, next step is to subtract. Okay, so we're going to subtract. We get 1. Third step, I bet you didn't think I was going to give you a third step, but I am. See if I can find my pen. Is 4. Bring down your next term. Okay, and so we get 5. And then, what do we do next? We start over. Until all numbers have been divided. Okay, all right, so we're going to start over. So I'll go quickly this time. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 minus 15 is 0. And then I bring down. Okay, 4 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. And 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, so now all of my numbers have been divided. Okay, this is where things change just a little bit, okay? So, write remainder over your divisor, which is this guy right here. This is your dividend, this is your divisor, this is your quotient. So our final answer is going to be our quotient, okay, of 451, and then our remainder of 1 over our divisor of 3. And this is our answer. This is what we're going to be doing, but with variables. So I know that some of you think this is silly, but I'm going to refer back to this when we're in the middle of the rest of this lesson. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this very first one. You always want to make sure your terms are from greatest degree to least degree, and I've made sure of that for you. So I'm going to write this out as a long division problem. Okay, x minus 2. And then 2x squared minus 6x plus 10, okay? First step is to divide. Now, when we divide, we are going to take 2x squared and divide it by the first term in our divisor, okay, which is x. So I'm going to divide this by x. And when I do that, I get 2x because this cancels out right here, and we're left with just 1x there. So that's 2x. So the 2x goes up here. Now, when you place your 2x, you're going to put it above the term that has the same number of variables. Okay, this has 2 x's, x squared. This has 1. Since our answer was 2x with just 1 variable, it goes above that term with 1 variable. Okay, So that was step 1, divide. Step 2 is to multiply. What that means is that we're going to multiply this term times this term. So 2x times x minus 2. So I'm just going to write that there. And I get 2x squared minus 4x. Okay, so I take this and I place it here. 2x squared minus 4x. Okay. Next step is to subtract. Now, this can get a little bit tricky. Let me take this off. Okay. This is a positive 2 and a negative 4. Now remember, whenever you have what was it? 2x squared minus 4x. Essentially, this is what we have. And if you remember, this negative right here acts as a negative 1. And so you are distributing that negative to both terms. So really what we get is we're subtracting 2x squared and adding 4x. Okay? So in the problem, what I do is I just kind of change their signs, just like that. And now I can combine my like terms instead of thinking of it as subtracting. We're really subtracting. But what happens is a lot of times people will take negative 6x and the negative 4x and make it a negative 10x. Well, no, because it's negative 6 minus a negative 4x. So to me, this just makes more sense so that we keep our signs correct, okay? So in combining my terms, these two cancel out, 0x squared, and you don't have to write that. And then negative 6x plus 4x gives me a negative 2x. And we have just subtracted. And now we're going to do step 4, and we're going to bring down our next term, which is a positive 10. Bring down that positive with it. And the next step is to start all over again. Okay. We are going to take 2x, because we really don't need this here, 2x and divide it by x. Okay, and we get, these two cancel each other out, and we just get 2, a positive 2. So I'm going to take this positive 2 and I'm going to put it up here, and I'm going to put it as a plus 2. Now I'm going to multiply. I multiply 2 times x minus 2. Using the distributive property, I have 2x minus 4. So I write that here, 2x minus 4. Okay, I'm sorry. This is a negative 2x. When I crossed that out, I didn't see that. So this is actually a negative 2. So when you multiply it, you get negative 2 times x is negative 2x, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. So this is a negative and a positive. Okay, now we're going to subtract. Now when we subtract, remember, it's like having a negative on the outside, a negative 1, and we're basically going to change our signs. So looks like that. So we have a negative 2 plus 2x, and that gives us 0. And then 10 minus 4, which gives us 6. Okay, we have divided every term in this problem. So the next thing that we do is we write our quotient up here, 2x plus 2, with our remainder over our divisor. Now this is a positive 6, so we put plus 6 over x minus 2. And that is your answer to this division problem. Okay, now I am going to do, on this one, I'm going to do practice 4, 5, and practice 4, example 5, and practice 5. You're going to do these two bottom ones on your own. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the next one together. What I would suggest is maybe trying it on your own and then watch me go through it. So that is an option. So we're going to go over to practice number 4. So we're doing this assignment just a little different. Okay, so we're going to start with step number 1, and we are going to set up our division problem. So let me have x minus 4. And we're going to divide that by 2x squared minus 7x minus 9. Okay. Okay, so our very first step is to take our 2x squared and divide it by x. And that gives us 2x. And so I'm going to place that here. It's kind of hard to see because I wrote it so close to that. Now I'm going to take and multiply 2x times x minus 4. I ran out of space. So I get 2x squared minus 8x. Okay, so 2x squared minus 8x. And now I'm going to subtract. Remember, when I subtract, I change my signs. Okay, these two cancel out, and I'm left with a positive x here, or 1x. And now I'm going to bring down a negative 9, and I'm going to divide x divided by x. Well, in your head, you should already know x divided by x equals 1. And those are both positive, so I'm going to add a plus 1 right here. Okay, then I take 1 and I multiply it times x minus 4. And I get x minus 4. Okay. Now I'm going to subtract, and I change my signs. I'm left with a negative 5. Okay. So I'm done because I've divided every term. So I take my quotient up here, 2x plus 1. And since this is a negative 5, I'm going to be minusing. And then I put 5 over x minus 4. And that is my answer. Okay, so this example down here at the bottom, example 6, is very similar to our example in practice 4. So if you want to go down and try that now, it's very similar. Example and practice 5 are very similar to practice 6. Okay, let's go ahead and let's do this one. Okay, this is just a little bit different because your leading coefficient is a 2 instead of just a 1. So we set up our problem, 2x plus 4, and then 2x squared plus 16x plus 49. Okay, so first step is to divide. 2x squared divided by 2x. Okay, and our 2's cancel out, and we're left with just an x. Don't use that one. Here. Okay, so we just put an x here, and if you want, you can put a 1 right there. Now we're going to multiply x times 2x plus 4. Okay, and we get 2x squared plus 4x. Okay, so 2x squared plus 4x. Now we're going to subtract, and I change my signs. Those cancel out, and 16 minus 4 is 12x. And then I bring down my 49. Okay, and we start over. Now we have 12x. 12x divided by 2x. And that gives us 6. Okay, and then I'm going to put that up here, plus 6. And now I'm going to multiply 6 times 2x plus 4. Okay, and I get 12x plus 24. So 12x plus 24. I'm going to subtract. Those cancel out. And we end up with 25 as a remainder. Okay, so my answer is x plus 6, that's a positive, so plus 25 over 2x plus 4. So the only difference with these two here are going to be just the coefficient right there. Okay, all right, let's do practice 5. I'm going to set up my problem. Okay, and I'm going to divide. So here I'm going to divide 4x squared divided by 4x. And those cancel out, this cancels out, and we're left with 1. So we end up with just an x. Okay, so I'll put my x here, and now I'm going to multiply x times 4x plus 7. And I get 4x squared plus 28. x. Okay. Now I'm going to subtract. I'm going to change my signs. These cancel out, and this becomes a negative 25x. 3 minus 28 is a negative 25. Then I bring down. That's not right. Oh, I'm sorry. X times 7 is not 28. I knew I did something wrong. That did not look right. Okay, so x times 7 is 7x. So this is a 7x. Okay. 3x minus 7 is a negative 4x. All right, that looks better. And then I bring down my negative 6. Okay, now I start over and I divide. Negative 4x divided by 4x gives me a negative 1. So I'm going to put minus 1 right here. And then I multiply negative 1 times 4x plus 7. See if I could do it right this time. And I get a negative 4x minus 7. Okay. Now I'm going to subtract, and I change my signs, and I'm left with just a 1. So I divided all of my terms, and I write my final answer as x minus 1. This is a positive, so plus 1 over 4x plus 7. Okay, and that is how you do long division with polynomials. So basically you have these 3 on the first page and these 2 on the last page to do. I know I had initially said you're going to do all the practice, but I think more practice up here together is going to help you to understand a little bit better down here. Okay. All right. Well, I hope to see you all during one of our Zooms next week, because it'll be our last week of Zoom. And I will see you all soon, hopefully. Bye.